Yes, guys, we can start now. This is an exam preparation for Cisco certified support technicians. We can do maybe 30 minutes revision, right? If you have like any question, you have to stop me and you have to ask your questions, right? So we are going to start 1.0. We are going to learn about standard and concept. Those standards, they are rules, the principles, right? For networking, we do have some principles that you have to know, some rules. Those are the standards, and we are going to learn about the concepts. Whatever that they are talking about, like here, means there's a question. There is no tricky question. When you know, you know. It's going to like to come the way they are writing here. Like here, they are talking about TCP IP model. The question will come on this one. The OSI model, the question will come. What is a frame? The question will come. What is a packet? The question will come. What does it mean by addressing? The addressing, they'll ask you about the IP addresses, like the classes, right? Now we're gonna start with the question number 1. It's 1.1, right? Don't learn it just for passing the paper, but for interviews. It's very important. Don't just learn because you wanna get a certification, right? Learn because these questions are going to come somewhere, maybe in 2025, right? Identify the fundamental conceptual building blocks of a network. Number 1, we have to define what is a network, right? What did you say again? What is a network? Like group of devices or objects, right? Those objects can represent so many things. As I said, guys, when you go for an interview, when you go wherever you're gonna be, when you are talking about these networks, this concept, don't use the definitions from the book. You have to make it so easy, like everybody can understand, right? Those objects like can be phones, like computers. When we are talking about a network, we don't talk about like computers only. You can have the like a network like of people. You can have a network of phones, like a network of televisions, right? So networks is not about computers only, right? And those group of objects, they are connected, right? So simple definition, what is a network? Like group of objects. Those objects, they are connected, right? And those objects, they are connected using what? Wired or wires, right? Must I put S or not? They are connected using what? Yeah, cables or wireless. And you are done with your definitions. Don't try to go further looking something else. When you learn this way, you will never need again to go for a book. And this definition will remain like forever, right? Now, when you are talking about these cables, you have to understand that there are so many types of cables, right? There are 3 types, right? There are 3 types of cables. There's what we call the coaxial. You know the coaxial cable? The one that you are using like at home for TVs, that cable. This is the coaxial one. So you can have a network where you are connecting your computers using the coaxial cables, right? You have a computer here. You have another computer here. But these cables, like in the middle, it's the coaxial. It's a coaxial cable, right? The one that you are using for your TV, that's cable. This is the coaxial cable, right? So you can even teach your kids at home when you are talking like this. Don't look for the difficult terms and so on, right?
Make it simple.
Make it simple, like something that you cannot forget. Number two, you can use what we call, right, like Ethernet. Or sometimes we call it a copper, right? The Ethernet cables, right? Or you can use a fiber optics. Those are the three types you have to understand for the exam, right? So you can have another network here. Somebody can say, for me, for my network, so I'm gonna use the Ethernet, the copper, the Ethernet, right? And somebody else can say, let me check first. Morning. If my recording is going. Oh, I was not even sharing, you see? Yeah. So you can go for Ethernet, or somebody else can go for what? Can go for fiber, right? Can go for fiber. Finished. This is how you can create a network using cables. Coaxial cable, the one that we are using with our TVs, the Ethernet, or the fiber. Now, the most important when you are talking about those cables, you have to understand which one is cheaper when it comes to the price, right? The Ethernet one, the copper, is the cheapest one. The cheapest and the most used, the most common or the most used, right? The Ethernet or the copper is the cheapest, but the most used, right? The revision I'm doing, it goes the same also for CCNA. So if you finish with these guys, at least you already revised 40% even for your CCNA. Right? And remember that the Ethernet will use a connector, right? That connector, we call it the RG45, that connector that we are plugging on the computer. You see that white connector, the RG45. You cannot do your networking, you have your CCST, you have your CCNA, but you have confusion. You don't know that, no, this connector here, this white, we call it the RG45, right? There is also the smaller one, the RG or RG? Yeah, this is J. You know me, I'm a French person. For French, it's giving me trouble to pronounce. RJ11, this is for telephone lines. You cannot forget about this one. There are so many small questions. All right? You can see your router, like at home, your wireless access point, they got that small port. This is for RJ11. But the connector for the Ethernet, we call it the RJ45. All right? You can go further from the internet. Like here, you can just type the RJ45 versus the RJ11. Suppose like you wanna see, right? How those, you see they're even here. There are so many pictures that shows you the way they look like. There's the RJ45 for Ethernet, for computers, for printers, and so on. And this one for telephone lines. Suppose like you wanna connect your wireless access point or your modem to the internet. Sometimes you can use that cable or that port for telephone lines, right? Those are the things, guys, when you are talking about this Ethernet, the most important that you have to know. You can get a question, they can ask you, among those cables, which one is the cheapest one and the most used by companies, right? And remember, guys, this Ethernet, right? This Ethernet comes in two types. There is the UTP and the STP. UTP means unshielded twisted pair. You can go from the internet, you can just type UTP versus STP. You see the definitions, right? The STP is the one that is more protected. The STP, the Ethernet cable, will have an extra protections. You see this cable, the Ethernet one, but the STP will have the extra protections. UTP will never have the extra protections, right? Why there is an extra protections? Maybe your network will run like in some of the companies, like the industries. You know the industries, those machines, they can interfere with the Ethernet cable. So you need a cable that is more protected. That way you can go for STP, but it's more expensive than the UTP. The UTP is this one, the unshielded one. You can go from the pictures just to check. See here, the way the STP is. The STP is more protected. There are extra protection like on the cable than the UTP. See here, from these pictures. These extra protections, remember guys, you can take the STP, your cable can pass next to the lights, but it won't gonna bend the cable. So it won't gonna interfere, like maybe the machines. So when you run your network, where there are so many machines, like the industries, like the air conditioner and so on, go for this STP, but it's very expensive. Why? Because of the extra protections. The most important you have to know, the STP, it's when your cables will pass next to the lights, like next to the most of the machines, like your air conditioner and so on. You must go for STP, but it's very expensive, right? So you as a specialist, you did your CCNA, you have to know those small things. Those are the building blocks, right? There are some of the things that you cannot get like confused. Now, make sure to, U means unshielded, it's unprotected. The S means shielded. There is an extra protections, right? What else can I talk about this Ethernet? I think we spoke about what is very important for the Ethernet. The coaxial cable, this coaxial, we won't gonna talk about it because there is no much questions on it. But remember, we only use it for TVs, right? Fiber optics, remember, is the most expensive. This is what you have to understand. They can ask you questions like among those type of cables, which one is the most expensive and the fast one. You have to remember those two. Fiber optics, very fast when it comes to transmissions, right? When you connect your two computers using a fiber optics, the transmission will be very fast. That way you can see data centers are connected using the fiber optics, but it's very, very expensive, right? And you have to know that that cable that will make up your fiber optics, there is what we call like single mode and multi-modes when it comes to fiber optics, right? Single mode means data will flow using a single light. Multi-mode using multiple line. But if you wanna go further, very easy. When you are by yourself, you can just say like single mode versus like multi-mode. Maybe if you wanna learn more about like the difference, right? You're gonna find so many guys who are talking about it. You see, single mode means the five, yeah, there are so many guys who are speaking about it. You can try to learn, but there is no need for you to go deeper because the questions will never be there, right? Now, what else left? We can go, we spoke about the 3 types of cables, but remember that you can also create your network using wireless, right? And from wireless perspectives, you have to understand that we do have the infrared, the Bluetooth. It's Bluetooth or what? My pronunciations. This French pronunciation follows me everywhere. Or what else? Wi-Fi. You understand? So you can have your network. You have your laptop here. There's another laptop here. You can use the wire. You can use the infrared. They can talk, right? You can use the infrared, or you can use the Bluetooth, or you can use the Wi-Fi, right? But you have to know that the drawbacks of infrared and Bluetooth is what? Shorter distance. You must be maybe like in shorter distance, like in order to communicate. You cannot connect multiple devices like in Bluetooth. Like we are 5. We are all created in a single like Bluetooth network, you know? But Wi-Fi gives you the opportunity to connect multiple devices like for longer distance, right? This is the small things that you have to know like about that, right? So among the building blocks, we spoke about the cables, the wireless, and you have to know that the wireless is not protected. The security is less. Why? Because you are using what? You are using the waves, right? Anybody can capture the signal, right? A bad person can be in the middle and access, right? You must have strong encryptions, the authentications must be strong, right? Those are among the building blocks. And when you're talking about the building blocks, remember that sometimes you required some network equipment like routers, switches, hubs. Let's talk about some network devices, right? We can talk about what we call like a hub. We can talk about a switch. And we can talk about a router. We can talk about a firewall, right? Those are the most important devices when it comes to building blocks. Those devices that make up a network that you have to understand, right? And remember that these ones, you know, the CCST, it's like the n plus. The comes here like n plus. When you do the whole things we are doing now, you have the whole knowledge for the n plus. The only things you can buy the practice questions and write that n plus exam. You know everything about the n plus. Yeah, but CCST is much advanced than the n plus. But if you go through these documents, you do like everything. You know the whole knowledge about the n pluses. And if you want to write that exam, you only buy the practice questions and go and write. There's not something else you need from that. Now, let's start with a hub. The first things you have to understand about a hub, because you can pick up a question from there, it's a network device that connects your computers, right? Your computers, printers, and so on, right? This is what you have to understand about a hub. So it looks like this. You have here your PC here. There's another PC here. Like in the middle, you can bring your hub, right? This is your hub here. And you connect those two computers to the hub. Or you can also have your printer here. This is your printer. And you can connect your printer to the hub. So it's a small box. That box will have ports, right? But what you have to understand about a hub, because you can pick up a question from here. You have to understand that when we are talking about this hub is very cheaper. First, it's cheaper, like it's easy to configure. Like it's cheap because you can have some questions where they can ask you, which one among those devices are easy to configure and cheaper, right? A hub is a network device, but it's very cheaper and easy to configure. But the problem is this hub, the hub is not a smart, is not like an intelligent device, right? A hub doesn't know where to send a specific message. What does it mean? It means this, guys. You know, when you are connecting your computers using a hub, right? So if my PC wanna talk to your PC, because we are connected using a hub, my message will go to everybody who's connected to that hub. This is the drawback of a hub. There is PC1 here, there is PC2 here, and there is PC3 here. And we are connected using a hub, right? Suppose like I'm sending to PC2, right? Suppose like I'm sending to Tuli, like a message only. Because we are connected using a hub, the hub will send the message to everybody. This is the drawback. So the message will come here. This hub will do what? Will send the message like here and there. Everybody will have a look to that message. So PC3 will say, okay, this is the message, but this message is not for me. Let me discard it. Let me delete it. But at least like PC3 saw it, right? You have to remember that everybody in that network will see the message, but they are going to discard it. They are going to delete it because it's not directed to them. Only the message that must receive it will keep it. But at least they're gonna see the message before discarding it, like before deleting it. But this is the major drawback that you must keep for the exam. like a hub is not a smart like device. A hub doesn't know how to send a specific message to a specific device. A hub will send to every devices that is connected to it. Done with that hub story. Now, because of that drawbacks, the guys, they said, okay, there must be a way like to come up with a device that's gonna be smarter than a hub. A device that knows where to send a specific messages. That way they came up with what? A switch. You understand? To solve the issue, that issue of sending the message to every device, they came up with a switch, right? Now they said, okay, let's come up with a device that's gonna be more intelligent than a hub. They came up with what we call a switch, right? Now, my switch here, this is my switch, right? When we are talking about like switches, guys, always keep in your mind that, how can I come down? Okay. Always keep in your mind that we do have layer 2 and layer 3 switches. And layer 3 switches. You have to understand this switch. Is it layer 2 or layer 3? Right? There are questions they will ask you from that. And I'm going to explain about this difference. Even the guys who are doing the CCNA, even the CCST, very, very important. You can find 1 or 2 questions from there. Layer 2 uses what? Physical address or MAC address. Hi, are you? You understand, guys? Layer 2, right? Layer 2 uses what? MAC address. So if I want to communicate to you, because our network using a switch like a layer 2, my switch will look at what? Your MAC address, your physical address. Your PC, your phone, your tablets will have a physical address, unique like physical address. So that switch will have a database. That database will keep what? All your MAC addresses, right? So it's gonna be like this. We have the computers here. Those are the computers. They are connected to this layer 2, the L2 here, right? This L2, layer 2 switch will have a DB, a data base, right? That database, technically, we call it a forward table, but I have to remember, maybe I'm wrong, but starting with like with F, right? There's a table, we call it like a table, right? This is what you have to understand. There's a table, right? That table will be something like 2 columns. They are like 2 columns like this, right? This is how that database looks like. Column number 1, it's port number. Port number. This is what you're gonna find like inside the database, like port number and what? MAC address. MAC address. So how this table works? So if PC1, you plugged your PC1 like on a port 1, right? This database will keep what? Like port number 1, there is PC number 1. Suppose like the MAC address of PC1, it's like AA. Just an example, like AA-ish. Like AA, right? This AA will be where? Will be here. AA. Now, suppose like PC2, you are plugged using port number 3. So there you're gonna see what? Port number 3. Suppose like the MAC address, it's BB. So you're gonna see there like port number 3, MAC address is what? BB, right? If your PC1 wanna talk to PC2, your message will go to the layer 2 switch. The layer 2 switch will do what? Will go to its database, checking. Where is PC3? Wait, where is PC2? No, PC2 is on port number 3. This is how it works. Your message goes to the layer 2 switch. The layer 2 switch will check the database. Because that database will say, okay, where is like PC2? No, PC2 is on port number 3. Let's now forward the message. This is how layer 2 works. The most important, guys, you have to understand, layer 2 works using a MAC address or physical address of the device. The decision is based on MAC address. There is a question on this one, definitely. Even if you go for N+, they like this question. It's one of the building blocks of these layer 2 switches. Right? Now, when you go for layer 3 uses what? Logical address for making decision. Logical address, this is what we call what? IP address. Or what? Do remember, guys, about this. The CCNA guys, all of you, you're gonna get a question here. No excuses. So if you are telling somebody, I did networking, means you know this. No reading, no what? You know it's layer 3. If we are connected using a layer 3 switch, means that device will make decisions by checking the database. That database will have what? IP addresses, not physical addresses. The decision is happening using a logical address, like an IP address. This is the main difference between layer 2 and layer 3. So somebody can ask you, what's the difference between like layer 2 and layer 3? No, layer 2 makes decision using a MAC address, physical address of the device. But layer 3 makes decision using the IP address. So layer 3 is like a router. So layer 3 works sometimes like a switch, sometimes like a router. Very easy for the exam for you to pass. You don't need a practice question to answer this question. You can even sleeping. Don't dream about your husband, your wife, your girlfriend. Dream about who you're gonna become tomorrow. Dream about the IP addresses, what? Yeah. People are asking me, how are you memorizing the formulas? This whole networking, like 90% you know it in your brain. Because I'm dreaming my future. I'm dreaming what I'm studying. I'm not dreaming somebody can leave me. Some days. I don't do that. This is the biggest mistake ever you can do in your life. I'm telling you. But you must love. But don't love blindly. right? Yeah, when you are dreaming your studies, it's so easy to be successful. Yeah. But when you are dreaming somebody, you must prepare your grave. One day your heart, we're gonna find it by the hospital. Your heart is there. Oh, this is Bongani's heart. This is Jonathan's heart. Who wants it? We are selling this heart. This heart doesn't have a place to stay now.
Jonathan rejected, said God forbid.
Hey, my camera is disturbed, guys. This woman disturbed my camera. Yes? Yeah, because like layer 3 switch use those two, right? Sometimes it works like a switch, sometimes like a router. Guys, wherever like I'm stopping multiple times, there is a questions, because those are the things like you have to know. When you are reading, when you see layer 2, layer 3, you see to see what's the difference. This is the bigger differences. Layer 2 makes decisions based on the physical address of the device. Sometimes the question, the answer can be like physical address or MAC address. It's the same. And do remember, guys, your physical address of your phone cannot change. That's why they can arrest you when you hack somebody, when you do somebody wrong, something wrong using your phone. They can do the investigation. They're gonna say it's your phone who did it, that did it. Why? Because your physical address cannot change. But your IP address can change, like it's a logical IP. That way somebody, when you wanna hack, somebody can go by the internet cafe, leaving his house, using the computers from the internet cafe, using another network, right? You cannot do wrong things. Like one day myself, I wanted to advise my boss. I used another computer. Yeah, so I was sending a message like somebody else, but I was advising him the way like he has to manage the business, right? Guys, I think it's clear for all of you, right? Let's move to another, what's going on? Hey, my, what's happened? Maybe this woman next to me, she's disturbing me now. Okay, now we're gonna talk about routers, right? We're still on the building blocks, right? Guys, wherever we are talking about routers, you must see networks. And when we are talking about networks, you must see what? IP addresses, right? Routers uses the IP address for making decisions. Routers connect networks, right? Don't go for an interview, they're asking you, what is a router? You are looking at the definition from the book. No, the routers is a device that connects networks, right? So you can even see like my design here, very easy design. Like there is one PC here. This is a switch maybe, and this switch is connected to my router here, right? So, and there is another switch 2 here, right? And there's another PC like here. Do remember, guys, those routers, those network devices, they are not connecting the devices by magic. No, they got databases, right? Those databases keep the information about like all of you. Like when you see a wireless access point, there's no magic there. There's a database. When somebody is giving you a Wi-Fi password, your device will send the MAC address of your phones, right? Routers will have a database, a DB, very important. But technically, that database, we call it a routing table, right? This is what you have to understand for the exam, routing table, right? Don't go for an interview, they're asking you how the router works and so on. You start talking about a routing table. The people in front of you, sometimes they don't know about what is a routing table. Those are the technical words. Routers connect networks. Routers got databases, like a record of all the networks, right? So easy for your husband, your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your kids to understand, right? You see, when I'm talking to somebody, you are talking about the technical word. Hey, we want to cooperate. I want somebody speaking like a language that everybody can understand. Now, because routers like connect networks, means your database will have what? Networks. That database that is there, like on your router, that database will keep what? Information about the networks, right? And routers will use the IPs, right? So every port from the router is a network. So when you see a router, those ports from the router means you can connect different networks. And when you're talking about different networks, means you can connect different switches, right? You can have here like a router here. This is your router. For every port, you can connect like a network, because routers connect networks. And for every network means I can connect a switch. And for every network, like every IPs, right? Is it clear? Now, guys, if I can go back. Okay, let me do this first. There is something they like to ask these guys. How can I come down? I always struggle when it comes come down, right? Guys, you know how switches will know your MAC addresses or your physical like addresses by using what? Broadcast, the ARP protocol, right? Because you're gonna ask, okay, I'm gonna plug my computer to the switch. You're gonna plug your phones. You're gonna get the Wi-Fi. But how come the switch will know my physical address? Because the switch will send you a message, like a broadcast. We call it a broadcast message. I say, hey, my man, how are you? When you're gonna say, hey, I'm fine, when your PC gonna say, hey, I'm fine, means what? Your switch will keep your MAC address, because when you are responding, that message will come out with your physical address, right? This is how it works. And guys, when we are talking about like switches, you must understand messages from the switches. We call those messages frames. Remember, guys, switches transmit frames. Those are the technical word, right? So when you see like frame, you must understand, no, frame is a message. But from the switch perspective, switches transmit frames. You as a specialist, when you are talking to technical people, you have to say switches uses frames. But what is a frame? It's just a message, but a message that will follow switches format, right? Messages from the switch will be called frame. There are questions on that. But from the router's perspective, messages will be called what? Packets. There is a question on this one, guys, where I'm repeating, you must know. They will ask you, from the router perspective, how can you call a message? It's a packet, right? Did you understand, guys? Don't get panic when you see a packet. You must say, no, packet is from the router perspective. And when we are talking about packets, what can you find inside the packet? IP addresses. But when we are talking about frames, we are talking about the MAC addresses. MAC addresses or what? MAC addresses or physical address. So easy, right? This is how you have to understand this. Don't understand the long definitions from the book, because it will come out one day. Make it easy, make it simple. Frames will use MAC addresses. So when I'm sending you, when we are connected using a switch, the emails that we are typing and everything will be represented like frames. And inside those frames, like an envelope, will be like an IP address. No, like MAC address. From the packets, we'll be using the IP addresses. So wherever you see routers, the IP address must come to your mind. Networks must come to your mind. Wherever you see frames, you must understand those are the MAC addresses. And guys, MAC address means media access control. They will ask you that. What's MAC stand for? You understand that? Don't say mangoes like apple and whatever. You have to know. So when you are studying, you go for MAC address, you ask yourself, what this MAC stand for what? Right? But there will be days I can go deeper, right? And guys, because I'm talking about this MAC address will have two parts. Every MAC address you can see from your phone, from your device, there are two parts. Do remember about that. There is a part that belongs, that is unique to your device, and there is a part that is unique to the manufacturer, right? Your physical address, there's a part that will identify the manufacturer and the part that will identify your device. I'm done with the building blocks. Now I will move to this one. I will move to those two, but I've already explained about the frames and the packets, right? But when you are learning by yourself again, so try to check again from the internet, try to add some notes again for yourself. Not for passing the paper, guys. You can be certified or not. The world is ruled by the people got knowledge, not by the people got the papers, right? You know, there is these two guys. Let me check them for you. Sergey and Larry. Those guys who came with what? Larry Page and Sergey. They came up with Google. Those two guys, they were students. They are studying. Like the professor is speaking about the browsers. You see, you can, now the guys, they say, you speak about the browsers. Means I can have myself at home and people are doing the research. But the research, it's me who's keeping those data, those informations. They started at home. They put it on one computer. They were keeping information. And his friend with another computer is trying to do the research from that computer. Now they see it works. They say, let's connect the universities. Let's keep the information about the universities. It works. Oh, let's connect the city. It works. They came up with what? Google. Those guys, they are billionaires. Without papers, they left studies. They ran away from the universities. But where is the professor? Still they're poor. I'm a doctor. With his papers, with his title. But those two guys we were teaching, they ran away from the campus. They are billionaires. They are the one who are ruling the world. When you go to US, you're gonna find, they will show you, Larry Page was sitting here. That guy who made Google is here, Larry Page. That people are going there watching where those two students were sitting. Hey, Larry Page, hey, the one who made Google, he was sitting here. No qualifications. So don't ask me about that. Huh? So about passing the paper, don't let the people who are passing the papers. Those are the people who are keeping us poor. Huh? We want the people with knowledge, not people with passing the exam. Now we're gonna talk about the TCP IP model and the OSI model. Guys, 5 or 10 questions will come for those two only. The TCP IP and the OSI model. Even if you are doing the CCNA, even if you are doing the CCST. But I don't want to talk about the exam, right? I'm talking about the knowledge. Maybe you can go for an interview, like you meet a guy, that guy will say, do you know about the OSI model? Do you know about the TCP IP? Can you say something about the TCP IP? Right? Everybody knows about it. Just the way you're gonna talk about it, they say, no, no, this guy is a guy, without even looking at your qualifications, right? So when you are learning something, do it. I don't wanna call you one day, I wanna borrow money, you are telling me you are broke. I want people that I'm gonna call, I know, like, this one is my student, she's working somewhere. Hey, send me 500. And you send fast, right? Yeah, you know, it's like that. Eh? When I'm calling you, hey, take me out, we go out. So me, I'm not paying you that you are. So me, I'm just enjoying. I'm just chowing the meat. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about those two concepts, right? The TCP IP models, right? But I'm gonna start first with this OSI model. And I'm gonna finish up with what? The TCP IP model, right? Don't take the longer definitions from the book, from the internet, because that longer definition will run away from where? From your brain, right? This OSI model, the O means open, S means standard, right? Let me check, I can be wrong. Like open standards, like interconnections, right? They are the things that's, yeah, systems. Yeah, open systems, like interconnections. Because sometimes these guys, they like to ask sometimes the easy questions. Eh? They can ask you, what OSI stand for? They can ask you what MAC stand for? What IP stand for? Internet protocol. What TCP stand for? For sure, you can get one of them, right? So when you are learning, like you see something, first start like to look, what does it mean by these abbreviations, right? Very, very important, not for passing the paper, just for knowing, for your own future. So when you are studying, don't have that pressure, oh no, I'm gonna write this day. No, so it's not passing that paper that will determine you. It's what is there like inside your brain, what will save you, right? Now, this OSI model, what does it mean, right? This is just a model that explains how devices are connected. Finished. You don't need to go left and right. OSI model will explain how devices are connected. Like explains how like devices are communicating in your network. Finished. You don't need to go left and right, right? So when somebody is saying, how you are connected to the Wi-Fi, how two computers are connected, how am I sending an email from Durban to, right? For you to understand that communication better, you have to understand the OSI model. The OSI model tells you how you can form a network, how devices can talk, right? But that way, we can say the OSI model is a theoretical model. Theoretical. Don't mind my way of writing. Right? The OSI model is a theoretical model. Right? Don't go watching Zoto Abantu because you can try to replicate YouTube. You go to club YouTube, you are trying to put something short.
If it's bringing money,
What
it's fine.
somebody like a documentary, what somebody who is somebody maybe like who's successful because you wanna be there, right? Yeah. You know what happened? I like stories because when I was young, guys, I know all the documentaries about successful people. So I've been watching them even 100 times when I was young. So I was closing myself in my small room, watching about Mark Zuckerberg, how this guy made this Facebook. Two twins, they got an idea. They say, oh, we can connect like our students, like our building, like our campuses, two twins. But those guys, they got the ideas of connecting people. But they said, okay, we don't know much about web development. Let's go for, like ask this guy, this Mark, this guy is very strong when it comes to programming websites. They were students. They called that guy. They say, man, you know what? We got an idea. I want to connect the students so that we can share the ideas. That guy listened to them. He said, this is billions. These people, they are telling me a brilliant idea. The guy went, never came back. The guy went home, developed Facebook, developed the website and finished it. 2 weeks, hey, where is Mark? They were phoning him, those two twins. Man, where are you? Where is our project? I'm coming. They wake up in the morning, they saw Facebook by the campus. Students, they were happy. Yeah, you saw a Facebook. Hey. They said, these things, it's us. This website, it's our ideas. The guy stole our ideas. They were looking for him. Facebook, the whole city, the whole US, 20 years old, made $10 million. 10 million, it's like 100 millions of rand. 20 years old. That guy was already, those twins, they were looking the guy ran away, the guy finished the project, and the guy became multi-millionaire. Multi-millionaire means billions of rand, right? And the guy never went back to school, no qualification. The professor, I'm a professor, I'm a doctor, looking 1,000 rand. But the one you were teaching, sitting in front of you, saw what yourself with your qualification you couldn't see. You see how it is. Paper is nothing. Knowledge is more powerful, right? But they went to court, those two twins, they gave them some billions. The guy paid them. He said, okay, man, I'm going to pay you. I know the idea belongs to you. Take something. Sometimes don't share ideas in disorders.
You want some shares and
Yeah, but he paid them something. But they were so stupid. How come you got a nice idea like that? And I don't know. They could give him a contract that time. Man, we have an idea, but sign here. Like these things belong to us. You see?
the problem was that their scale, the way they wanted to make it was too small. They wanted to make the college social media. So the guy wanted to expand it to be
yeah.
So he left them.
He left, yeah.
They wanted to develop his own thing.
So guys, this is how those stories, they are so fascinating. When you are watching those stories, guys, you will understand about life, and you're gonna be like inspired, right? You know, like this guy who made Microsoft, Bill Gates. Bill Gates stole the idea from Apple. The guy went and see the Apple computers. He saw the mouse for the first time. One computer, there is a mouse that is moving. That guy, Bill Gates, saw the mouse and went back. Microsoft was not using a graphical user interface. The guy stole the idea by seeing Jobs and that other guy, the computers. When he went back, he developed the Microsoft better, right? The guy never finished the school, ran away. The place we were sitting, so it's like the places for inspirations. People are going to watch where those students they were sitting. So don't mind about me. You are more smarter than me. You're gonna make money than me. Yourself, if you want it. If you don't want it, yeah, students got lucky than us, eh? Yeah. So as we are poor people, we already agreed on that. There's no way to change it. This is what God said. The one who's teaching cannot go further than those who are listening. But those who are listening, they must be like people with inspirations. But if they're not like that, you are missing, huh? Okay, the OSI model is what? OSI model is a theoretical model. This model will show you, will explain how computers can communicate. Finished, right? But this model said, for computers to communicate, for devices like to communicate better, the devices must go through 7 steps, right? We call those 7 steps layers, right? Now for you, you must know those 7 layers. You must know which layer falls like under which number, because they will ask you, what is layer 7? What is layer 4? In which layer this task can be done? You understand that? Guys, are you listening? I don't want to see you, myself broke, my student broke. I don't want that. Yeah, I want to get some cash from you. Huh? Yeah. Hey, you know me, I like vibe. I like to go out a lot. Huh? Yeah, people asking me, you don't stop. How am I going to stop? It's my lifestyle. I cannot change it, even if I'm 60. I like to go out. I like nice things.
Grandpa.
I'm going to change. I like those movements. Yeah. Layer 7, guys, we call it the application layer. They will ask you a question. There are so many questions on this OSI model. They will ask you, what is the layer 7? Just knowing the name. So according to the OSI model, the layer 7 is the application layer. What does it mean? Application layer is the layer that gives like access to network services. Access to what? To network services. Or applications. This is what you have to understand. You have to understand this. When you wake up, guys, you want to send an email. What are you doing? You go to a browser, right? Your browser, your Chrome, this is the network service. This is the network application. You understand? It's so easy to understand, right? You have to go to your browser. You have to go to Chrome. But what is Chrome? Network application, network service. They can ask you just to list some network application. Which one is a network application or network services? Like an example I gave to you, it's like Chrome, right? Your browser. So if I want to connect like to you, I can start by going to the browser. Or maybe you can click to network. You get to your file explorer, you click on network. This is a network service, right? So the application layer is the layer where the user will have like access to what? To network services or network applications. This is where you as a user, number one, you're gonna look and say, okay, so I wanna do my research. You have to go to a browser first. There is no other way. That browser is a network applications. They can ask you, what is the utility of an application layer? Giving users access to the network services, right? They will ask you again, what are the applications that works like under the application layer? There are a lot, you must look for them. There is like the FTP, there are a lot. Make sure for the exam, you go to the internet, you say like the protocols that works under the application layer. I just gave you 1 or 2. Make sure you are going to go further. The HTTP, hypertext transfer protocol. For you to go to a website, for you to access the web pages, you need the HTTP, this protocol. But this protocol works under the application layer, right? Very, very important. You must have a list. You must have like a table, 1 column, numbers, number 7. 2nd column, application layer. Number 3, the meaning. What the application layer does, give users access to the network services. What are the protocols or the software that works like under the application layer? You put there, right? Now, guys, remember, after accessing Chrome, when you go to gmail.com, right? Your email will open. What you're gonna start doing now? What you're gonna start doing? You must start typing, right? There must be a layer that will make sure that you are following the correct format when it comes to typing or when it comes to doing research. There is a layer that will make sure. This is we call the presentation layer. Number 6, they will ask you which layer will make sure that your formatting is fine, right? Your data is well formatted, your message and so on. This is the presentation layer. Formatting and so on, right? And they will ask you, what are the protocols that will allow you to make like a good formatting and so on? There are so many, like your MP, EJ and so on. There are so many protocols that fall under the presentation layer. So guys, you can even explain to your best friend at home, I know your husband, your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, like, you know what? What are you doing for the first time when you want to access another computer? First, you're going to go to Chrome, like to a network service, something that will allow you to access. This is the application layer. When you are done from there, what you're going to do? You must start typing. You must start your research. Now, there must be a layer that will make sure that you are following certain rules when it comes to the presentation. How are you presenting your document, the formatting, and so on? This is the presentation layer, right? When you are done for the presentation layer, there is a layer that will prepare the roads. There's a layer that will prepare the road for your data to flow, for your data to move from one side to another side. We call it the session layer, right? Opening the virtual virtual path. There are so many ways we can define it. Closing or terminating and so on. Maintaining the session. Guys, did you understand? When, suppose like you already type your email, right? You are done with typing, right? There is a layer that will make sure that there is a road between your PC and that PC. But that road is virtual. It's something you cannot see. So this session layer will open that session, will keep it open for your data to start flowing. This is the, right? Maintaining, it's maintaining it. That session, the session is, you know, suppose like you wanna send me a message, means there's a road that is open. That road will be opening by the session layer. This is like his responsibility. And maintaining, when we're still talking, you know, when you call your friend using your phone, means there's a road. There's something that is maintaining your communication. And there's something that will close it, right? So the session layer will do so. Now, when the session layer is keeping your road open, your virtual path open, there's a layer 4. That's layer 4, we call it the transport layer. What is the responsibility of this transport layer? There's what we call segmentation. Segmentation means what? You see your whole message that you are typing, right? Your message will be split in different segments. Are you understanding, guys? Segmentation means splitting my message like into segment, smaller ones, right? And your transport layer will do what we call fluid control, or controlling the fluid. Or message controller, I don't know what I'm gonna say, but you're gonna understand. Controlling the size of the message. You know, guys, when we are communicating using like our network, right? There is a maximum size of every message, and there is the minimum size, right? Like this network will say, okay, for every message must tend to be more than this size. If your message, like it's so big, your message will never reach the destination, or your message will reach the destination with errors. And if your message is very low, or your message is lower than the minimum recommended size, your message will reach as an error, as a mistake. Now, the transport layer will make sure that your message like is following the maximum size and the minimum size. This is the meaning of the controlling the fluid, right? Segmentation, it's controlling the fluid. Those are the responsibility of the transport layer. Now, I'm gonna split your message properly. So I'm gonna make sure that your message following the correct size. Now the question will be, which network am I gonna go? Where am I going now? Where am I going? This is the network layer. Network layer means what? Making sure that your segment, your message will reach the proper network. Done. Making sure that the message will reach specific network by using what? IP address. Because you're gonna ask yourself, you're gonna ask, how come like I'm here, I'm sending to my mother's, maybe in Cape Town, but my message will reach Cape Town? How come? Because there is a network layer. The network layer will make sure like your message will reach the proper network. All right? Now, after finding the network, right? How am I gonna know that it's Cisco's computers? Because of the data link layer. The data link layer will add what? Physical address or MAC address. This is how they can find you. The message can come from US, reaching your phone. How come? Because the data link layer will know, like this message must come to my phone, right? So the responsibility of the data link layer will be to make sure that the physical address will be reached. And the last layer, now because I know like it's no CISA phone, right? How am I gonna send it? Using wireless or using the cables and so on, right? Using fiber optics or what? This is where we're talking about the bits. Your message will be converted to specific format according to the media of transmissions, right? So now you must know, and you must know like for every layer, there's a specific device, like a layer 2 switch. Where can you find the layer 2 switch? Data link layer. Why? Because layer 2 switch using MAC address. When we are talking about a router, router uses an IP address. Which layer? Layer 3. When we are talking about cables, layer 1, physical layer, right? So you're gonna have a table when you are studying. Which type of devices fall like layer 2, layer 3? They will ask you questions, guys. They will ask you like a switch works like under which layer? If you don't know, you're gonna think like it's a hard questions, but it's something I told you to investigate on it, right? This is how the OSI model works. Very easy to understand. There is no magic. The magic is behind the person you are dreaming about. This is the one that you cannot understand. This one is so easy to understand. Human being is the most difficult things that you cannot understand. You think like you understand it, but you cannot. Physical address will never change. But me, I can change. I can go to somebody, nice food, and I'm coming and starting beating you for no reason because I'm already full somewhere. All right. Guys, is it hard? Are you gonna fail those 5 questions about the OSI model? Make sure when now you are sitting, you make your table. Study it properly. 1 column for the numbers. 2nd column for the name of the layer. Number 3, what that layer does. Number 4, what are the protocols or the software that works like under that layer. Number 5, what are the devices that can I find in this layer? Because the question will be like this. Some of the questions they will ask you the devices that works maybe on application layer on this particular layer. Some questions they will ask you about the protocols that works, right? Sometimes they will ask you the meaning, what that protocol does. Sometimes they will give you a problem. They will say, maybe in this particular network, there's a problem of an IP address. Which layer is this case will be the network layer. So the question, they'll just start playing like in your mind. Now, when you are preparing for your exam, make sure, but not only for the exam, right? As I said, when you know better than myself about networking, you will never sit here waiting for your international exam. You're gonna say, ISA is wasting my time. I know what I can do with this networking. You go and start your own thing, all right? This is how it works. When you understand something better, there's no need for you to waste your time in that place, all right? Guys, now we're gonna move to the TCP IP model because those two works like the same way. The major difference between the TCP like IP models and the OSI model, this one is a practical model, right? Because the OSI model, it's like an abstract model. Like it all talks about like the theory side, but this one it's more practical. And this model has been developed by the Department of Defense, right? US Department of Defense. Hey, you know, guys, last week I was very sad myself. I was listening the Department of Defense of this country, which country? France. Guys, just for the army, that budget is over the whole Africa. I was very sad listening the budget for this year, for the army only, for the Department of Defense, that budget is over the budget of whole Africa. Just for killing, just for the safety of their country. Now I say these people, they are very wrong. The budget for the army, you can change the whole Africa, but you don't want. I say some people are, no. Some people are looking food. So you are taking billions for giving the weapons to Ukraine. That money they are giving Ukraine, they can change the whole country. They can bring it here and change everybody's life. But they are giving for weapons. How come like a human being can think like that? They asked them, they said, the money you are investing on Ukraine war, why you don't change people's life in Africa? But you are investing it on weapons. Those people are so crazy, I don't know. But what you gonna do? There's nothing we can do. This is how life is, eh? For some of the people, when they are seeing you, right? You know the way they are educating the American like people. Every American, when you're gonna be born, they are telling you, you must rule the world. It's you, the boss of the world. Now, when they are studying, they know, when they are coming here, they know like, me, I'm the boss of the whole country. All these people, they must work for me. This is the way they've been educated. But as here, nobody's telling us how we have to behave, how we have to see like each other, you know? This is what makes us like, you are hating each other and so for nothing, for no reason. You are hating even your own husband. So if your husband doesn't give you money, you start hating your husband. If your husband is broke, you don't listen anymore. Hey, come here, for what? For what? Why are you calling me? You don't know where is the spoon because it's broke. Yeah, we know the story, what is happening. If you are broke, wife don't listen anymore. And when they get a nice job, they kick you out. Don't do that. Don't kick my friends out. Eh? You ladies, we know you. When you get a nice job, you forgot about the guy who were coming, supporting you. You kick him out. Why? Even if you have money, it's no money. No, but it's 10%. I know, but 10%. Ladies, when they got money, they don't listen. They want freedom. They forgot, like, this guy, sometimes he was there when you were studying. The guy was there. Just listen to him. Don't be like this because you have money now. Say, I want to go out with my friend. Huh?
You guys also do this.
No. The man goes with the brain. You goes with your heart. This is dangerous. Now, guys, the TCP IP model will come with 4 layers. This is the main differences, right? OSI model, 7 layers. TCP IP, 4 layers. Don't forget about this one. This one got only 4 layers. What is the first layer? Number 4, still the application layer. There is no change. They can ask you which layer from the TCP IP models match the OSI model. The application layer don't change. Number 4 for them, also for this one, it's the application. Number 3, what is number 3? I'm old now. Transport layer. You see me to start loving, that way I'm losing the knowledge, eh? Because I'm starting getting in love. When you get in love, the concepts are running away from your brain. The transport layer. What must I do also, guys? Me too, I'm becoming heavy. The love makes me heavy.
Do what you're teaching us.
What must I do? You see, I'm starting losing the concepts. Number 2 is the network access. Right? I think it's like that. And number 1, I think it's a data link, but I have to investigate. Let me check a bit. All the guys, you must understand me. I'm in love now, so it's normal to lose the concept. Yeah, number 3 is the internet and the network. I'm in love, my friends. You put me there. It's you. I'm blaming you. Because you are telling me, Issa, got married now.
Yes.
You pushed me there. You see how now I'm lazy now. My memory it's empty. I'm blaming you now. Okay, those are the 4 layers, guys, right? Now, when you go to OSI model, right, the only 2 layers that doesn't change is this one. The internet layer will match the network layer from the OSI model, right? But this one from the OSI model, it's gonna take 2. Data link and like physical. They goes like inside here. They combine them. They made this network access. This is what they took, the two layers, the two last one, they combined, they made this network access. The network become the internet. The transport also will still remain the same. Don't change, but the application will combine the two. Done. So the way they made the TCP IP model, they shrink it. They made it 4 layers. They said, okay, let's take the 2 layers from the OSI model. We're going to put it in one. The transport will never change. The network layer, we're going to call it the internet. The network access, we're going to call it data link and whatever. But you have to remember, guys, go to the internet here. Go here. It's here. It's so easy. The pictures are there. The way they are matching. They are there. And there are questions they will ask you. Which layer doesn't change from the TCP and the OSI? We see this one doesn't change. Still doing the same job. This one, we change only the name. But these 2 will become 1. And these 3 will become, even the session will become the application. This is the 2 differences. Right? You have to know this matching when you are reading, when you are preparing for the exam and so, right? Did you understand, guys? Don't get tired.
A lot of work.
A lot of work. Yeah, you know, if they can show you, you know, Facebook, the line of code, So if you want to start writing it down from here to Paris, now, how that those people worked. If you want to write down from here to Europe, this is the way the code is. Billions of lines of code. You think it's billionaire for nothing? You wait, right? You know those guys who made Microsoft? Those guys, they were sleeping by the garage. They were drinking Coca-Cola for 2 weeks. They closed the venue, making the codes. So they're just going out for 2 hours. You look at people buying Coca-Cola, coming back. Dream, they say, hey, we're going to finish this Microsoft. Typing the code. Right? This is how those guys, they became like that. It sacrifices when you have a dream, when you have a project. Some of them required hard work. You have to work for you to become like that. Those guys, they were sleeping on the floor. Steve Jobs and all those guys. Steve Jobs became mad, went to India to study about mindset, how to become smart. The guy left everything. He became poor, went to India, studying about the mindset, how a human being must behave. What is a human being? What is the brain? So he came back poor without 1 rand, right? By reading a book, by the library, this is where we discover the phones. That's why this airport is very nice when you see it. Because the guy didn't have the fees to pay. He went by the library, started reading the calligraphy, the books. Now, when he came to airport, that mindset from the books in the library, this is how he made the iPhone nice. We didn't have the school fees, but you when you don't have the school fees, you are crying. Don't cry. Maybe when you are broke, this is where the good ideas come. Right? You are happy on the iPhones. Hey, iPhones, nice pictures. The guy didn't have the fees. From the library, he got the idea for coming up with nice phones. Right? Okay, guys, you want a break or we can finish this part? Okay. Oh, 11 already.
Yeah.
You want a break? I know. Okay, let me just check a bit something. I don't want to cut the recording short. I want to check. Hey, what have I done with this? Okay, guys, I can have a break maybe for now, and it's after